Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quest Me, the TMA Network podcast that takes you on a quest through legends and new canon. This season, we are discussing The Acolyte, probably the most controversial Star Wars show of any Star Wars show that has been released. And it has been a good time. We have thoroughly enjoyed it, and we're excited to keep talking about it. Of course, by we, I mean my good friends Justin and Phil. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out again today.
Hey,
I just want to point out that the subtitle that you have given tonight's episode is the reason we don't have a guest.
Do you not like that one?
Oh no, I love it.
Was it good enough?
I don't really think it's an otter, but we'll get there.
Pretty sure. Well, whatever. Hello to everyone out there that's watching on the YouTubes, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, and this week the TikToks. TikTok only lets us go live for about an hour, so this show usually goes about an hour and a half. So hopefully we get done with the meat of the podcast in about an hour, and then you can flip over to YouTube and watch the segment portion of it. But of course, before we go to anything else, we have to take a visit to It's a Bar Far Away, the part of the show where Phil takes us on a journey to a bar far away and tells us his ridiculous drink that he's making tonight. So you have the floor, sir.
All right. Well, for tonight's cocktail, I decided to do something based on the world of Kofar, where this episode is taking place. And I decided that it needed to be something kind of herbal and botanical heavy because we're on a jungle world. So I decided I was going to make a riff on one of my favorite cocktails, Moscow Mule. And this one's pretty simple. This is an ounce of vodka, an ounce of Fernet Branca, which is an Italian Amaro. It's a very herbal liqueur. It's a type of bitters, basically. It's fairly astringent and a little minty. Yes, yeah, but and it's a kind of an acquired taste. But so we've got ounce of vodka, ounce of Fernet Branca, the juice of a fresh lime squeezed into there, and then 12 ounces of ginger beer. In this case, I used Krabby's. You can use whatever ginger beer you like, but I like Krabby's because it is, unlike some ginger beers, it's actually alcoholic on its own. And so it just adds a little extra kick. And then garnished with the remaining halves of that juiced lime and a nice little mint sprig. So it is very reminiscent of kind of the jungle environment in which we find our characters this evening.
And I bet you made it just like Kalnaka made his whatever stew he was making in his pot.
Wookie whoop soup.
Because that drink kind of looks like that. Also, don't forget, everyone, please drink responsibly. I'm just drinking coffee and water. Actually, I don't know where my water is, so it's just coffee tonight.
Gin and Fresca.
Gin and Fresca. All right.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
I like that.
No, that's an excellent combination.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Phil. Of course, though that recipe will be in the show notes. Which reminds me, I need to go update the last two show notes with those recipes. So I'll make sure to do that.
Liar out of me to my listeners.
No, I'm not. I just a lot going on. Do you see the bags under my eyes right now? There's just a lot going on. That's why I'm drinking coffee at 9:00 at night. So, but I am excited to be here talking about Star Wars because that's what I love to do. No matter how much other people dislike it or whatever, I still enjoy it and I still like talking about it. So you know what? I'd even revisit the Bad Batch just to spite myself.
Bad Batch is good, man. Give it a break.
Yeah,
I used to be a hater too.
Maybe we'll do
the Good Batch.
maybe we'll do a season where you can twist my arm into watching the Bad Batch again. With that being said, this is a podcast brought to you by Twist My Arm. So if you are new to this, go ahead and follow us wherever you're watching this, and check out some of our other videos. If you would like to find us, just search Twist My Arm Podcast anywhere, and we'll pop up. So, and of course, all those links are in the show notes, just like anything else that we talk about. So, with all those introductions out, we do not have a guest today. Unfortunately, our good friend Nick had to drop out. He just got done with some sort of convention. He's a busy artist as well. So he is unable to attend, but he will be here at some point again, I'm sure. Nick's a great guy. And if you haven't seen that episode, go check out the Twist My Arm episode where I talked to Nick about his Dream Forger Studios. Pretty cool stuff. Well, I don't actually... you can't see that. There's a photo right behind me, or a big portrait that he made for San Diego Comic-Con last year. It was pretty cool. So let's move on. We, of course, like I said at the beginning, are talking about the Acolyte. This episode is episode 4. It's called Day.
Dayman.
That's my first complaint, was just the episode. Day? They spent a lot of time at night, kind of, didn't they? I mean, I guess the sun just went down.
The episode changed when it was night.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And so we still get the duality.
They're big on that for sure.
Power of 2.
It's almost like it's about twins.
I called this episode "You Otter Know" because there's a really fun character that I just couldn't help myself with. But let's do this synopsis. I have some things to say.
Is it your own?
Of course.
Oh, thank you.
In this headcanon breaking episode 4 of The Acolyte, we are taking to any other forest planet than Kashyyyk.
Breaking canon. What the fuck?
We get a little more backstory, and we see some old friends. That's all I got, because I wanted to discuss everything else. Now, what I mean by headcanon breaking episode is there was an old friend from this episode that I seem to see a lot of people complaining about showing up. And I just want to clear the air real quick. Ki Adimundi
Cam
has there's nothing in canon ever that says that he can be a certain age or whatever it is. Anything that I have read, that people have spewed and shouted from the mountaintops, as all Legends material. And as we all know, Disney retired Legends and will pull some plot points and story points from those series, but they are doing their own thing. So that being said, I'm tired. I'm tired of the whining. I'm tired of the complaining. This show isn't even done yet, and you're saying it's the worst thing that's ever happened to Star Wars. Give me a break. Let these people cook. Let them finish the series before we make any crazy conclusions. It's insane. The amount of people just screaming how bad the show is, which, by the way, there's some campy dialogue. That's Star Wars. There are some funny characters. That's Star Wars. And there are some mystical things. That's Star Wars. We're getting new Star Wars. That's what we're getting. And as fans, that's pretty cool. Look at how long Star Trek had to wait for good stuff to come out. And now Star Trek is... They're getting they're having a good time over there because they're getting new content. But I don't see a lot of people, even if they don't like some of that stuff. Discovery gets kind of panned a lot, but I never see anyone going for jugulars or really being mean about things. I've heard that Wikipedia runners right now are getting death threats because of this whole Ki Adimundi thing. Are you kidding me?
Is it because of his line about the Sith being extinct?
Millennia.
And let's just talk about that for a second. Because technically, they don't even know this isn't a Sith. Exactly. As far as he knows right now, they aren't dealing with a Sith. They're dealing with a dark Jedi that has strayed from the path.
They called it what, a splinter cell or?
Splinter, yes.
Yeah.
And if they take care of this, that's why like when Soul and what's her name were talking in the corner. I know we're just jumping right into it, but when they were talking in the corner about this whole mission, they really hushed themselves down to make sure that Mr. Mundi didn't hear them.
No,
And
did
like
you
he
see
was
that?
giving them a side eye and
Yeah,
like
you saw
trying
the
to figure it
conniving
out.
look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like
it was the
he was like,
side
"What are you
eye,
guys
like
up
he's
to?"
planning something.
No,
See,
he
I'm
was
relating this like I was going to relate this to the whole theory on the first episode when they said they had outside political power or pressures. I was
okay.
thinking
Well,
that came as that
hold
political.
that thought. Let me just finish my rant really quick because
Your
as he's side eyeing them, he has no idea what's going on. He just knows that there's a Jedi out there killing other Jedi. That's it. And so to complain about the story being so poorly written and nothing makes sense and all the canon is broken and Star Wars is dead, it's insane. Just knock it off. I'm so tired of it. So that's my rant. Now to go more in depth with that, Justin, you were saying that Mr. Mundi is possibly planning something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to connect the dots here, like every Star Wars nerd out reading into the plot. I think that's the political pressure that they mentioned in the first episode is going to be Cam trying to get Yoda as the Grand Master. And I mean, it's a reach and a stretch, and I doubt it'll get to the second season, but it's just a thought. It seems cool.
From what most people have said that I've kind of like seen around, Yoda's not supposed to make an appearance. Like he's not supposed to be in this.
He'll be
season.
spoken about.
I'm sure, and maybe they will. Maybe he's on the High Council right now because it seems like this little sector of Jedi is trying to keep this news under wraps
from the High Council.
The High Council,
yeah.
And if Yoda's on that High Council, maybe we'll see something there.
See, I was under the influence that the meeting within that room was the High Council.
No. They were saying about taking that.
My theory is out the door though.
But
you thought that was the High Council. I'm like, oh, cool.
You could look at this as Ki-Adi-Mundi trying to get on the High Council and using this as leverage to get there, because technically he's not there yet. In the Phantom Menace, he was on the High Council. He was there with Yoda and Mace and Yaddle and all those people. So this could be the start of him getting to the High Council, his pathway there. But either way, I was kind of stoked to see him, and I was, it was cool to see a familiar face, even if it was kind of weird at first.
Like, he had little hair, little tufts of brown hair.
He hadn't finished going bald. I mean, this is 100 years earlier.
He hadn't had all those kids yet. He hadn't been married 5 times. Because let's remember, if for those people that actually cared about Ki-Adi-Mundi, there's not many of you. He was married to like 5 or 6 different people because his species was almost extinct and they had to keep it going, as they say. So he was allowed to do all of those things.
Do the dirty.
Yeah. That was my other point. No one gave a shit about that character. No one cared about him beforehand. There was like a select 5 or 6 people out there that like made fan fiction about Ki-Adi-Mundi. But
apparently the developers of Star Wars Galaxy Heroes do, because he's a fucking pain in the ass to unlock.
Yeah, of course. But that game has every character. They mixed everything into it. They have Knights of the Old Republic mixed in with Rise of Skywalker. Like you can have Darth Revan play next to Kylo Ren. So that game is all out of whack.
The way it should be.
Exactly. But I feel like with this episode, if we're going to go back to the beginning, I feel like we're getting a little bit of whiplash. Would you guys agree with that? From going back and forth.
Because we're coming back after the flashback at this point, where we're back to the present timeline, and just kind of because we got the benefit of the full episode flashback last time without any bits of like the framing story. So I can see that. I can see it, Josh. Where
It's
that
just
would be a
a
little
bit,
bit.
and I can almost guarantee we're gonna go back to the past in the next episode.
We're gonna have a whiplash.
Yeah, it's gonna be, to the past, back to the present, then to the past, then back to the present, and to finish this battle that just started. So episode 6 is just gonna start with this Jedi beating up on all the other Jedi.
Nah, it'll be like episode 7 will be the final flashback.
Yeah, we do need to figure out what actually happened, because there's a lot of things. Like if you go back and look at trailers, there is a scene in one of the trailers where Kelnaka looks like he's fighting with Torben, like he's jumping at him. So I'm wondering if the witches, again, it's not going to be a Sith Lord, it's going to be a witch. I'm pretty positive it's going to be one of those witches, like almost 100%, because it's not. That's got to be what it is. Like there's no other thing. And I still think it's Coral. I think it's gonna be Coral. I think she's gonna be the one that started the fight. She's the one that took over Torben. So I wouldn't doubt it if she tries to go take over Kelnaka, and Kelnaka fights the Jedi, and it starts this whole thing. But then when Kelnaka comes to, he ends up killing all the people. Like it just becomes a big mess. But it's going to be all Coral's fault, and she's going to be the one that dons the mask and comes back. No. What do you guys think about that? Am I too far off base there, Justin?
Yeah, you're far off base.
Maybe just a little.
I don't think Coral's going to be mystery red or dark force user. I think that's Chimere.
Whoa, maybe. See, and there's another good
left
thing.
Door there. Open. Left the door open.
But is he a red herring?
Half of this is.
It could be. I mean, yours sounds more of like a red herring. Like this Chimere just fits up. Like he was asking so many questions, but he also had so many answers on the hike in. Like how did he know exactly where the Wookiee was? Nothing made sense about any of his question lineup and what he was doing. And then to boom, boof, magically appear after you find out, like, oh, this chick's gonna sell me out. Better go into laughing mad gear.
I don't know, man. It just seems like Chimere, it was just too convenient. Like I kind of think when I finished this episode for the first time, when I watched this episode for the first time, I was like, oh, it's definitely gonna be him. But then I watched it again, and it just seemed it's just too obvious if he's the one under the mask. It's got to be one of the sisters.
I think it's that. Phil, what do you think?
My inclination is that it's Chimere, but that's only because, like, in Ahsoka we have the Night Sisters established as kind of our villains there, and it feels like we'd be I don't know, maybe reusing the same like group of villains too close together in terms of like air dates, not like canonical timelines, obviously, but I don't know.
So a little piece of me kind of thinks that that's the point. Dave Filoni did have a little bit of input on the creation of this show, and there's a lot of explaining to do in Ahsoka about the Night Sisters, and if they're doing some sort of connection between this and Ahsoka, I could understand that. Maybe kind of showing how they're what would you call it? They're like coven on the planet in the other universe, like how that came to be. And like, just kind of talk like, if these twins are as powerful or as much of a dyad as it seems, then maybe there's some sort of connection between them where they can speak through time and space or something. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I still think there's some Night Sister involvement, and that there's going to be a reason for that. And that's probably just me holding out hope that this is connected to something else that we're watching. When in actuality, like, it's probably going to be just a one-off thing where there's no connection besides Ki-Adi-Mundi and, you know, Yoda, and like
it's Marok's original body.
a lot of people still say it's Plagueis. You guys still think it could be Plagueis?
I think it's an apprentice to Plagueis.
Really?
Which, I mean, what if Coral is Plagueis?
Oh, dude, could you imagine how pissed the entire fandom would be if Coral and
Not another girl.
God.
It's Sith Lord, not Sith Lady.
Oh my gosh. My name is not Coral, it's Plagueis. Oh, dude. That would just, people would see, they would riot.
Mark the time. Mark the time, 8:30 p.m., June 20th.
Wow. I'm kind of hoping that happens now. I'd be all for it. Dude, that'd be so awesome.
That's my wild theory.
I want it to be true.
I just
to see the repercussions.
Yeah, just for the pure trolling aspect of it, I would love for that to be true. Holy shit. I don't think they'd do that. I don't think they're ballsy enough to do that. But dude, you know, I could see Coral being an apprentice to Plagueis.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that would, wow.
I mean, just saying, the whole influencing the midichlorians to create life.
Yeah, what if Mother Anastasia is Plagueis? Coral's her apprentice.
Nah, she's too sweet.
Dude,
until her daughters get taken away.
Right, till her daughters get presumably killed.
We don't know what happens yet.
Yeah, you're right. So,
mystery.
Time will tell. We will see what happens.
In 4 weeks, we have all the answers.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's the whole reason why Chimere is probably the master, because we're having conversations like this.
Yeah,
and like
it's
just so plain and like plain as day. Like just the conversation that they had while they were walking, where she's like, "Well, what are you doing for me?" He's like, "Well, I don't. It doesn't matter."
You know, I owe the guy.
Yeah, exactly. I owe him a favor.
Before it's so dangerous. Don't worry.
Yeah, come on, dude. It's got that's. If it's not him, I'd be very surprised, and I'd be pleasantly surprised just because of how obvious it is. But whatever.
Maybe a M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because it is very obvious. I agree. But
I think
maybe too obvious.
Right. I think Kelnaka's, like, at the very beginning of this episode, he's in his little fort, his little hut, and he's got all those carvings, like those engravings of the circular things. They're very like witch looking. You know what I'm talking about?
They made an entire like different sound change, and like it was meant to like be isolated. I don't know why.
Well, just those carvings like in the wood make it, to me, I feel like he's lost his mind a little bit. Like, look, Torben, they had to have done something crazy because Torben also lost his mind and took the bearish vow and was like that for what, 10, 15 years or whatever. Yeah. And now you got Kelnaka that looks like he's going through psychotic episodes and he's like engraving these circles, you know, into the wood. I'm wondering if that has to do with the witches taking over their minds for a little bit.
Or just maybe that's Wookiee instinct is to carve on wood.
It was so reminiscent of someone having an episode, though, like a schizophrenic episode or just a mental breakdown and like just trauma kind of
See, if they would have shown the process of him actually being manic and carving it in the wood, I could find that more believable. But this is just the outcome of said speculation.
That's fair. Phil, do you think there's any connection between him having those carvings in the trees and maybe his mind getting taken over?
Maybe. I think there's definitely a connection to, May and Osha's clan, to their to the coven.
Yeah.
Honestly, like May's tattoo was one of the first things I thought of when I saw that.
Oh,
right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
So
did it hit? Did you see it?
I think it just got tested.
Oh man, I never made that connection. Like the whole time I've been wondering what they were.
Yeah,
and the spiral on her forehead.
They're almost identical to the tattoos that were worn by the people who had undergone the ascension.
Yeah,
let me see if I can find.
Osha doesn't have it, and May has it over her like left eye or something.
Yeah,
it is her left eye. Here we go. I got it. Here we go. Bringing it up. See these little circles right here. So seeing all of these, and it looks like a yin and a yang symbol. You got the twin moons there. You got that going on. You got the whole duality thing, and this is very much like it's all over the place. There's old ones. There's new ones. They're over top of each other. Like this is.
He's been there for a while,
right?
Well, they say he's only been off on this isolation for a year, and within the episode.
And maybe he started having some sort of episodes over the last
and then also, he is living in what appears to be a crashed ship, right?
Yeah, kind of.
So
in between the trees, but everyone knew where he was.
Yeah,
everybody knew where.
Or they were able to find out where he was anyway.
Like, really quick. If he's supposed to be in some sort of seclusion, he was really bad at it. Like even the Jedi, like in the little meeting they had, what's her name was like, can you go get him real quick? Go to Kofar and pick him up. Like they knew exactly where the hell he was. So I don't know. It is, to me, it just kind of seems like he's having an episode. Well, had an episode. On that topic, Justin, were you surprised to find Kelnaka just dead at the end?
Yeah, I was hoping for some hardcore barbarian badass Wookiee Jedi, and then he's just like slumped over in the chair, and we're wondering who done it, like with the candlestick, and was it Mr. Plum? Man, like I was very disappointed, but at the same time, it led into like, ooh, atmosphere change, music change, dark and ominous. Like it was a good leeway, but it was an anticlimactic death.
I would say yes, but also builds tension. Anticlimactic in the sense of, we don't see him die, so he's very clearly caught unaware, but builds the tension of the overall scene in that episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, do you think when Soul stops, there's a moment when they're walking and Soul stops and like stares in the distance, kind of looks like he's staring at the hut, at Kelnaka's hut, like something bad is happening. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And Osha asks what's wrong, and he's like, nothing. It's fine, and then goes on his big spiel about they're facing their past.
That's gonna be like a dark side presence.
And that's what I'm thinking. Did Kelnaka get killed even before they got there? Like way before they got there?
I don't know. Like from the scene, the slash in his chest had like sizzles.
Yeah, it looked fairly fresh.
I guess I didn't think about that. So it totally was the dark Jedi guy, girl.
Yeah,
person.
It's gonna be a woman.
I call him Smiley.
Smilo Ren. I think that's my favorite one
Jesus.
so far.
That's absurd.
Yeah, dude, that's
absolutely absurd.
That's what people are reaching for right now. Smilo Ren. We haven't got a name though, so I'll take that as canon for now.
Smiley Ren.
Once we get a real name, we'll get there. But to me, this episode, in a way, seemed a little bit like a filler. Did you guys get that, Justin?
Now that Phil has opened my mind to the tension building, no, this episode was an entire cock tease to build tension for this fight that we literally
aren't going to see till the last episode.
We won't. Oh no, I think we'll see it next episode, unless they do a flashback again.
No, they're doing.
They only need 2 flashbacks. They don't need 3.
Half of this series is going to be flashbacks. Come on.
No.
Phil, do you think this was a filler episode? I got filler vibes at some point.
It's hard to really call anything a filler episode when you only have 8 episodes.
Yeah, but they exist.
To an extent, yes. But I wouldn't necessarily call it filler. Padding, maybe.
Okay, all right.
I
feel like there's probably at least 5 scenes we could have cut out, so we could have actually seen some fight at the end.
I mean, the whole thing is still like all of the main action is wrapped up in the span of half an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
28 minutes.
Yeah, it was a very short episode. Man,
28 minutes, 27 minutes from the Lucasfilm logo, 27 minutes from the Lucasfilm logo to the end credits. So
is that where Star Wars is going wrong right now and how they're losing people? Is it a matter of like they need longer episodes to have more story?
Not necessarily. I think we're just running into the constraints of the structure of the streaming structure.
Yeah, but I mean,
even with pacing things like this would have been, I mean, probably stretched out to an hour if it had aired on like commercial like network TV.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but
it's got to be like 45 minutes, I think, because you have to have at least 15 minutes of commercial.
Yeah.
So it would have stretched maybe another 15 minutes. But
yeah.
I see what you're saying. But on streaming service, I mean, most other shows that are critically acclaimed are a lot of the time longer.
Longer. Yeah.
Look at The Boys right now, an hour long. Game of Thrones, hour. House of the Dragon, an hour. Even Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, an hour. Discovery, an hour.
I'm honestly enjoying the shorter episodes.
I mean, part of the
problem though is that we're still only getting 1 episode per week.
Right. And so I
can see why people are feeling, almost cheated out of the amount of content that they feel like they were entitled to for that duration of waiting. And I think fewer people would complain about the episode lengths if we got this all as a single bingeable streaming drop.
Or just a movie.
Question, Phil.
Yeah.
If the series was released in the 90s, like TGIF kind of stuff and Nick at Night and
laugh tracks and everything.
How would this fare, do you think? Better or worse or about the same?
I mean,
from how I'm deducing your logic is
this wasn't that wasn't kind of the marketplace for dramas to be airing. No, this would have been much more like a Saturday afternoon soap opera kind of thing.
Yeah.
Law and Order,
like an HBO special kind of every Saturday night. Have like Oz or whatever they did back in the day.
Yeah.
I just wonder if having longer episodes, because look, you could take, if every episode of The Acolyte, all 8 episodes were 28 to 32 minutes, that's a 2-hour long movie on average. 2 hours and 20 minutes if you just put it all together.
You're right.
So are people maybe just upset about the fact that we're only getting these little short excerpts of a story, and I don't know, maybe they just can't comprehend that or something. We're in
I
this day
mean,
and age where attention
comprehension
span is so
aside,
short anyway.
comprehension aside, I mean, that's kind of my vibe about a lot of the complaints. It's like, we didn't get as much story as I wanted there to be this week, and so I'm gonna be mad, regardless
Yeah,
of what we actually get in that story.
right. Yeah, people just like to be mad, and they like to be mad about the stupidest things. Like I said, nobody cared about Coyote Mundi, and also no one's saying anything about this guy. Who's that? On your left.
Hey,
Who is that? Does anybody want to say anything about that? Or is that not Plo Koon? A guy I talked to today, David, said that wasn't Plo Koon, but I
it's
mean,
definitely a Keldor.
Yes, very much so. Now, do we know anything about the lifespan of their species? Can they live for longer than 200 years, or is like, come on, guys, stop complaining about the dumbest shit. Like, quit picking and choosing what you're complaining about. Like I said,
I mean, in Legends canon, the Syrians or Syrians, Kiadimundi species, were infamously short-lived in the old canon comics, but that was
That's what I'm
never
saying.
never addressed in any of the films, and so it got dropped by the canon shift. So,
Well, that's what I mean is like, yeah, your headcanon from 20 years ago of that stuff that you read might be different than what it is now, because Lucas might have approved stories to be written, but he always told them, if I go against your stories, then too fucking bad.
yeah.
So that's kind of where they're at now, but people are just pissed about it. We got Thrawn. I mean, we have a whole series coming out about Thrawn. Let's go have some fun in the past.
There'll be
And
something that the base will still find out about it and bitch about. Even if they were to give us like Mara Jade, Jaden, and whatnot, we would still find something to tear apart it or tear
because Mara Jade's hair wouldn't be red enough or something like
or a big enough foot. Stupid.
Dude. They should just bring Mara Jade into the Acolyte. That's who the Acolyte should be. The Sith Master. It should just be Mara Jade.
That'll piss them off. Got you good, fan base.
Yeah.
Here's Mara Jade 100 years earlier.
Yeah. She's never going to marry Luke Skywalker. Eat it.
Now we're going to have Mara Jade, who's the clone.
Who's the clone? Yeah, that's wonderful.
She goes off with Luke.
Yep. So, God, there's not a lot else to talk about other than like May set that trap for Chimere, whatever. And that is kind of when I don't know. That's when I was like, he's got to be when he says, he will kill you, and he gets all dark, like that was pretty ominous. That was pretty ominous. So, I know it's a long shot for the Acolyte to be Coral, so it's probably the most obvious answer. and that scene alone just kind of gave that away.
So a character grew on me in this episode.
Okay.
I really like Jackie.
Yeah.
Like she's just a cool little lucky Padawan who's a friend with Osha, and you get to see them build their characters a little bit. But she's just hilarious. She's like, "We're looking for a Wookiee. He's big and hairy." It's just I'm watching a 14-year-old kid trying to translate. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love that translator that she had too. She speaks into the device and then it like translates into that creature's language. That's something we've never seen before. No, pretty interesting. But yeah, I liked her scenes in the beginning, the training scenes too. And it just, I don't know. She's a great character. And who's the actor that plays her? What's her name?
I know she's famous now. She's got a bunch of roles. but she's gonna die next episode, anyways.
You think so? You think all the Jedi are just gonna die?
Daphne
Plo
Keen.
Koon. Plo can't die.
Yeah, thank you. Daphne Keen. You said Keen,
yeah. Because we saw her in Logan.
Yes. Yeah, she was
She was X-23.
23.
Yeah. She's Laura.
Yeah. You really think they're all gonna die, huh?
Not all. Plo has to survive. Soul will survive, and then the twins.
Okay.
Everyone else seemed like a minor character outside of them.
So before we move on to we're already getting on to segments. Holy cow, we're almost there. Before we go there, let's take bets on if we go back to the past next week.
Ooh.
No. We're going straight into fighting.
Did you just roll?
Yeah,
he did. Well, we rolled D20.
What'd you roll?
Like a 2. It was bad.
Oh, okay. So with those odds, we're probably not going back to the past. But
I don't think we'll spend the entire episode in the past.
Okay.
I think we might get a cold open flashback.
Okay. I can see that.
Like, why would the writers just build you up onto a fight scene and see everyone force pushed off with a wave of his hand, just to do a cold opening the next episode? That is horrific as a fan.
Just
no.
I'm going to introduce you to a word. It's called cliffhanger.
I don't like cliffhangers.
Yeah. You remember shows such as Breaking Bad and
that used to have a season finale on a cliffhanger? Yeah. Hated those shows, but I loved it.
Yeah, guess what? They keep you talking about them until the next week or the next month or the next year or whatever the next season comes out.
Yeah. That is all right. True.
Yep.
My last big thing is just to keep people coming back.
My last big thing before segments, and this is kind of a fun little. I was perusing the internet and I found this fun little theory. I don't remember exactly where it came from. What if Trinity's under the mask?
Oh,
she already died.
Did she?
We didn't see a Jedi burial, but
we did not. Just a fun little thought, I guess, that maybe she faked her own death to, go on her own little rogue mission because something happened with the Jedi.
So you think?
I don't know. I just saw this wild theory earlier that
it's Master Indara.
Yeah, that Carrie-Anne Moss might end up being under the mask. By how tall that character was standing next to Osha,
who's very short.
Yes, but that was about the same height as Carrie-Anne Moss
or Chimere.
Or Chimere. They kind of look. I don't know. They hold themselves. I know it's gonna be him. Okay, I get it. Just like Merrick was Ezra, Chimere is gonna be the guy in the mask. That's what it is.
That guy ended up meaning to Ahsoka. It's the best part of it.
Jeez. Well, do you guys have anything else, or should we move on to segments?
Segments.
All right. So before we move on to segments, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the TikTok live stream. Thank you guys all over there for hanging out with us. Make sure to like our page and follow us for next time we go live. I'm kind of enjoying this stuff. So head on over to YouTube, search at Twist My Arm Podcast, and you will find us live over there, and you can watch the segments. So wave bye, everybody. Bye, TikTok. See you later. Okay. Now let's move on to the segments. Jeez, man. Here it goes. First one. It's the Starlight Killer scene where we talk about our favorite still shot from each episode of The Acolyte. This week, let's start with. I feel like Justin hasn't gone first in a while, so let's let Justin go first. His SKS comes in at the 28-minute and 15-second mark, a scene that we just talked about.
Ooh, the final scene of the show. So during this moment, it was just after Kilnako was found dead. The cloud cover just drops in. The music change happens, and then Osha walks up, and then the camera shows a blurred vision over her shoulder, and then you just see mystery dark force user floating on down, which I can't explain that as a force float, but
He was walking. What are you talking about?
watch it again. He floats on down
Descended
very slowly. It's like he had feather fall on or some shit.
Like,
Either way, he falls down, walks straight up like a freaking gangster, lights his lightsaber in front of Osha, and there's this scene of Osha, lightsaber, and then Smiley right there. And it, like, to me, I'm like, oh, this is sick. I loved this scene.
That was I really liked the thought of that character is looking at Osha as his apprentice, or their apprentice, thinking that I'm about to kill you, and then realizes, oh, that's actually not May, and that's why.
Well,
Osha.
I don't know if they had that kind of thinking. Like, it was just surprising to me that shortly after this, you're like, wow, she's gonna get slashed. Nope, force thrown to the side.
Yeah, well, if you got strung up by one leg and then ditched in the middle of the forest, I'd probably go on a killing rampage too, and then try and find the one responsible. But then when I run into her twin, I would probably just, push her out of the way. So since we're still on the
Not
time.
very like.
No, but I love that shot. It's a really cool. It'd be a good poster. I feel like,
right?
Yeah. Fuck yeah!
Just the detailing on the helmet.
Yeah, absolutely.
The teeth.
Yeah,
those are teeth, right?
Right. They sure look like they are carved to look like teeth.
Yeah,
like it's Smiley.
Yeah, yeah. Smilo Ren. Oh man! Speaking
Josh,
of
and Josh, at like
Hmm?
27, 28, he definitely floats down behind
okay.
Osha and then walks forward.
Okay. I
Or
missed
float.
the floating
Yeah,
thing.
no,
All right.
he definitely the figure definitely floats down, and then walks toward the camera.
Okay, all right. I must have just
Like I'm going back over it like right.
Maybe
Oh,
that was the
I believe
first
you.
taste of its power.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful indeed. Whether or
Mhm.
not it's a Jedi or a witch or a Sith, to be able to
Whomever.
push all of those Jedi back, which I don't know if you noticed, but it looked like some red dust to me. Where have we seen red dust before?
The last Jedi.
No, Ahsoka. We saw the red smoke
I didn't know either. Phil.
from the
Not
night.
not the salt and
No.
the
Oh, dude,
I'm
no.
just
Of great.
in with you, man. Relax.
No.
Relax.
But
We're
was
not
it
on
wasn't it
Assault
red?
Plastic Crate.
Wasn't there red magic in Ahsoka
A little bit.
with the zombie stormtroopers?
A little bit, yeah.
No. But I
So
always thought Night Sister magic was green.
I think you can go
That
either
green
way.
ichor. Or is it
think you can
ichor?
go-
I don't know. What's that?
I think there was certain. It's like different lightsabers. Some are red, some are green, some are blue. I think the magic is some is blue, look like Palpatine's electricity. Some is red,
One
like
saber,
some
two
Night
saber,
Sisters.
red saber, blue saber.
Yeah, exactly. There's a Dr. Seuss rhyme in there
All
somewhere.
force doesn't matter.
So let's go on to another poster shot, which comes from Phil at the 19-minute and 50-second mark.
Again, I am such a sucker for these wide shots, for any of these big establishing shots. and just getting to see the sun starting to set over these forests. So it's like, okay, I see why the Wookiee settled here.
There were a few good shots like this too, a few good sunset shots.
This one, and then like the one of May actually running through the trees with the sun setting like directly behind her a couple minutes later.
Oh yeah,
was also really good, and I was torn between the two. I opted for this one because it was the one I'd written down first because it occurred first in the show. Yeah. But I love the fog. I love the trees.
And so the trees standing out of the fog is one of the better parts, and the landscape too. I just found out today that they filmed this in, I think they said Peru or something like that, somewhere that's never really been used for filming before.
Yeah.
So a lot of these landscapes are new to the big screen, which is super cool because they're very much foreign and alien to like viewers, like
Western
no matter
audience to
yeah, exactly.
American audiences.
Yeah, I like that. I like that about these different shots they're doing. So excellent pick. My pick comes in at the 23-minute and 37-second mark. We talked about this a little bit as well. It's the scene where the master turns dark when he's hanging upside down, and this is the part that convinced me that it's probably not going to be Coral. It's probably not going to be Trinity. It's probably this guy. And just the way that he menacingly looked at May and says, he'll kill you. And she's like, no, he won't. Like, so it's pretty glaringly obvious to me that it's going to be this guy. And again, I'm probably so wrong. I'm not about to make a theory video about it. But I'm pretty confident that this guy's gonna end up
not. And actually, the resurrecting troopers were kind of blue-green.
Blue-green. Okay.
Right around the 20-minute 55-second mark in episode 8 of Ahsoka.
Look at you, just so
I'm just sitting here with it in another tab.
Love
it's not really that special.
God, I have to rewatch that again.
Ahsoka? Yeah.
It's worth it. I feel like it's worth it.
You definitely just watch our recaps.
Yeah, that's very true. Justin.
No, but it's the red that we get with them is just in like the Night Sisters outfits and in the like kintsugi kind of patterns of the armor repairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and find this red magic. I might be wrong with the red, but who knows? Let's go on to our second segment, which is
he's no good to me dead.
He will not be permanently damaged.
Boba's Bounty is when we talk about our favorite new thing that's been introduced into Star Wars. And with this segment, we will start with Phil. Your Boba's Bounty just so happened to be this game.
Basil,
that's his name.
Is it he or they?
I love this little dude. Basil, they are he. Yord does actually correct
he
pronouns.
Does.
Yeah. Basil is a tracker, and Basil is a Tynan, Tynnan.
Yeah.
A species that was actually first introduced way back in the 90s in the Han Solo trilogy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, old Legends Legends books.
The Carillion trilogy?
Not the Carillion trilogy, but the Han Solo trilogy, the Paradise Snare.
The book is right over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking about these ones? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great series.
Yeah.
Great series. I didn't realize that.
Huh. Yeah. But these guys, I like that they kind of steered away from some of the older fan art incarnations of them, which made them look more like beavers. Like more prominent, like buck teeth and stuff. And some of the they're basically described as being, you know, semi-aquatic and rodent-like. But I think the otter kind of vibe of this guy was just fun.
Is this Otter a Jedi? Is this a Jedi or just a tracker?
He's in civilian robes.
He is
That's
not
fair.
garbed. He's not garbed as a Padawan. And entertainingly enough, Yord is the only one who in the group who speaks his language.
I like that little bit of Jedi lore drop that they all have to learn a language,
right? And that Yord specifically decided that he didn't want to learn Shriwook.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that's true. I like Yord. I think he's a fun character. Like,
he's gonna die.
But yeah, Basil is just kind of this cute little goofball who's there to just help track down Kelnaka.
Yep. Yeah, I liked him a lot too. I like when he finds May and just starts screaming.
He just stands there and shakes.
I think he was more scared than May was.
A monster.
I mean, was he aware that they were? Was he aware that they were chasing somebody? Was he aware of the twin involvement? Because he knew Osha. He'd met Osha.
Well, he had to have known because they were on a mission to find her. They were there for Kelnaka, but they were also looking for her.
Yeah.
And as soon as he started screaming, Master Soul had said he found May.
Yeah. So
like there had to have been a different signal, I guess.
Anyway, I like him.
Yeah.
But his species was brought back into the canon in the Rogue One prequel novel.
Oh, okay.
Catalyst.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Look at you. Man, this yes. Great. This book of knowledge over here.
I do my research.
You're brilliant.
Yep. That's great. Excellent pick.
Let's I have ADHD and an internet connection.
Yeah. Justin's Boba's Bounty is a little more creepy.
It's rolling.
Yes.
It was hard to get a good shot of this thing, so I apologize.
I loved these guys.
The flying roly-poly demon bug, also called the Umbra moth. I got the name of it off the subtitles. But that thing is fucking from my nightmares.
Well, it is.
Like, I know roly-polies or pill bugs are harmless and everything like that, but they scared me as a child, and this just brought it to real life image of why I was afraid of them. But it is terrifying. Like the little roly-polies rolled up on the tree. Initially, I'm like, yeah, that's something living. Don't touch it. And she touches it and makes it up. The one thing I was hoping from this scene was like to have all the the Umbra moths wake up and have the Jedis just square off. That would have been sweet.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing because I figured that was the thing. Like that bug was.
I really was thinking that battle was going to happen.
No,
but no, it was isolated.
Soul just ignites his lightsaber, and like a moth to a flame. It's just a.
Yeah, I thought that was surprising. All he did was pretty much hold it up, and they even commented on it.
They had like earthly physics there, earthly things. Like apparently, no matter what the size the bug is, it's always going to be attracted to light,
especially blue light. Then it gets sizzled.
Yeah, even better. It was.
I can't help it. It's so beautiful.
Oh, I'm making that meme later for sure.
No, Harry, no. Don't look at the light.
I love that. It is a great pick, though. And those bugs were creepy as man.
Fuck.
They were awesome. So
that was fun.
Great pick, yeah. Did I even put my pick up here? Oh, you know what? My picks were both Kayadi Mundi and Plo Koon, even though I'm pretty sure that's not Plo Koon. Seeing those guys brought into the show was pretty cool. We talked about them pretty extensively earlier on, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But yeah, I'm very curious to see where they go with, especially Coyote Mundi. Like, is that the only time we're going to see him, or is he going to have some sort of plot as well? He does kind of have a head in the shape of Plagueis, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, Darth Jar Jar.
But no, great picks, guys. Thank you for always participating in those and having the fun with me. So let's move on to our final segment. The Tusken Raider is when we rate each episode of The Acolyte. So let's go back to Justin and start with you. What are you rating this week's episode?
Oh, due to this episode being more of a tension builder, as Phil corrected me earlier, thank you very much, and not being really too much action, the CGI sequence of the ship landing, like anytime there's sunlight and CGI, it just doesn't mix, so I didn't like that. Like overall, I had to watch it like 4 times to really digest it. I had watched it 3 times today. Like it took me a while to get it.
Wow.
So I'm giving this a 6.5.
6.5. Okay. All right. That's the lowest one for you so far.
Yep.
Phil, what about you?
I was going to go with a 7.5.
7.5.
It maintains the tension well. It introduces some cool new creatures. We got one of the coolest shots that we got out of the initial trailer finally popped up in this episode, which is the whole row of Jedi all igniting their lightsabers at once in the forest. That is a phenomenal scene. And honestly, I just didn't pick that one for my bounty because I figured someone else was gonna.
I didn't. It was too close to Justin's pick, so
No, that's fair.
Just colors.
I'm honestly kind of loving how many yellow bladed lightsabers we've seen in this series so far.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's there. It's building tension. It is adding a little bit of background to the plot, and it throws a decent twist in with the very sudden death of Kelnaka. So yeah, no, I got to call it a 7.5. All
right, 7.5. I am actually gonna go with the 7 on this one. I originally did a 6 when I first watched this episode. I was gonna rate it a 6, but then watching it again and kind of seeing all the little nuances and details and stuff, I'll boost it up to a 7. But that basically gives us a 7.
A 7
for a rating to even
7.
that
That's
thing
an easy
out.
one.
So yeah, I think that's the lowest one we've had so far, because everything else has been about 7.5 or 8. So hopefully that trend doesn't continue and it doesn't keep getting worse and worse. But I'm gonna go ahead and doubt that. I really feel like they're building up for some pretty big twists here, and I feel like the Rashomon story, like things they're doing,
come into play still.
Yeah, I really think there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff that that happens, and it's new and it's Star Wars, and I'm all about it. So.
Uncharted territory. That's what I like about the High Republic. It's only literature.
Yep, for sure. But that's going to be it for us this week. It's a very short and sweet episode. It was great to have you guys on again. Of course, all the links to find Justin, Phil, and I are going to be in the show notes. So let's see if we can do a professional sign-off this time, huh? For Quest Me, I have been your host.
And I'm Justin.
And I'm Phil.
And that was perfect. My name is Josh. And we're going to talk at you next week for episode 5 of The Acolyte. May the Force be with you.